Hi, this is Sean. In this video, I'm going to quickly go over how to adapt presets in Maya and some of the research methods that you might use and thought processes to achieve different visual outputs. So, for example, in this visual output, our goal is to make green tenderly smoke that should look cartoonish. So how would we start doing that? Well, we could play with, and the other thing is we're not going to make this a three-dimensional emitter. It's going to be a 2D emitter. So we could go under dynamics and play with the fluid effects, and there's a 2D emitter container. But what we might try is also see if we could find something that's a little bit that would get us closer to the answer faster. So there's a couple of ways to think about that. One is we could look at the presets under the fluids, and there's quite a few. In addition to that, there's also a bunch of presets in the visor. So under fluid examples, let's look under liquids or smoke. Look. So this is sort of a tenderly smoke, or this is thick tenderly smoke. You could try one of these, or swirling smoke. I chose the cigarette. I imported that into the scene. And also, in addition to that, if you look under the notes, that'll give you an additional clue as to how you want to modify it. So in this case, it says that you can modify the look and feel by changing the buoyancy and the swirl, as well as the dissipation. So where are those? Under the content details, you'll find the density tab has the buoyancy and the swirl functions, and then the turbulence has got also, you can also sort of adjust those, and the velocity has the swirl. So why don't we just see what this looks like as it is? This is a pretty decent simulation. It's puffing out. Let's first turn this green. That was one of our goals. So under the emitter, we need to make this emit a fluid. The fluid needs to emit a color. So we'll turn that on and we'll set the grid to dynamic. And let's pick a color. So let's pick a bright green. And now one of the things that you'll also find that's very useful for getting a more realistic look is to do multiple sets that are within the same emission. So for example, we have two emitters that really help to sell this as a visual effect. So we've got this one, and let's go and modify the other one. And let's make this one a little different color green. So now we've got two colors of green. And those look great. So now we can go through the tabs that we made before and go under the buoyancy and dissipation. We could reduce the dissipation if we wanted the smoke to be thicker. If we didn't want the smoke to float up as quickly, we could reduce the buoyancy as well. We could increase the density scale. So you get that nice, really thick, swirling smoke. We could also play with the swirl too. If we wanted less swirl, we could also try dialing in more noise. In addition, one of the similarities of getting visual effects that connect to the light, workflows for lighting is that what you want to do is you want to isolate the effect that you're getting. So in this case, what I would do is I would go into one of these smoke parameters and disable the evaluation. So you can see I've got one that's, just turn that on, rewind, and now disable the evaluation. So now I've just got one smoke emitter that's working. And so that's what this looks like. And now I could go in, turn this one on. So I could take a look at this one. So this is the one where I've changed more of the parameters, and it's got a, more of the swirling and thick smoke going on. So in addition to that, I highly recommend looking through the help docs, and those will specify, you can get a good description of each of the parameters and what it does. And you can also, for rendering purposes, I usually will work as low res as possible and then dial up these parameters, which can sometimes slow down the simulation. But if you end up baking it, you'll get a nice look at the end. So let's just turn everything on. And rewind and play. You don't want to make them too different, but they're close enough right now where they're combined, and you get a nice look where two of them are sort of responding to each other. All right, well, hopefully that helps. Thanks so much for watching.